Professor Zikstars had dissected more species than any scholar on the Orion frontier. But the moment he watched a human sprinkle the galaxy's deadliest plant onto their food, laughing, eating, enjoying it, he realized something terrifying. Humanity didn't just survive where others died. They thrived in chaos. To the aliens, that plant was a toxin that could kill a leviathan in seconds. To humans, it was flavor. And that was the day Professor Zikstars began to fear Earth, not for its weapons, but for its appetite. If that opening made you grin or shiver a little, stick around. What happens next will change how you see humans forever. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share this story with anyone who thinks humans are just average. Trust me, by the end, you'll see why we're the galaxy's most unpredictable species. All right, let's dive in. The air inside the research dome shimmered with violet mist, thick, toxic, and silent. Professor Zikstars adjusted his respirator lenses, recording the readings with trembling claws. "Warning," his drone chirped, "tetraflora venomous concentration at lethal level." Every species on record knew this plant's legend. One spore could stop a heart in seconds. But the human standing a few meters away was smiling. She plucked a glowing leaf from the vine, rolled it between her fingers, and tossed it into a sizzling pan. The air hissed. "Smells like chili," she said casually. Zikstars froze. "You eat that?" "Sure," the human grinned, shaking a small bottle. "A little salt. Brings out the kick." The professor's translator stuttered. "Kick? Kick?" The molecule she was frying had a toxicity level higher than industrial acid. He was about to call for emergency containment when she lifted a piece with her fork and at it. Her heart rate, steady. Breathing, normal. Expression, delighted. Zikstars felt his frills wilt in disbelief. "Impossible," he whispered. The human looked at him, eyes bright with warmth and danger. "Impossible?" she said, grinning wider. "Nah, we just call that seasoning." Professor Zikstars couldn't sleep. The footage replayed endlessly. The human chewing, laughing, alive. It wasn't luck. It was something deeper, something biological. So he did what any scientist would. He asked for samples: blood, saliva, tissue. Every test he ran shattered another law of biology. Where other beings' cells ruptured under toxins, human cells fought back. Their enzymes didn't avoid poison. They dismantled it, piece by piece, like little soldiers trained for war. He watched under magnification as human leukocytes engulfed molecules that would liquefy a Lyran's organs. "They metabolized death," he muttered. The data spread through the Xenological Council like wildfire. The reports labeled it adaptive biochemistry, but Zikstars knew it was more than that. Humans were built for danger, by evolution or by some cruel cosmic joke. He noted in his log, if exposed to a chemical weapon designed for extinction, human physiology might simply evolve around it. That night he watched the human expedition cook dinner again. They joked, they burned food, they added that same deadly plant like it was nothing. And Zikstars realized something chilling. To study humanity wasn't science anymore. It was survival research. The next morning, Professor Zikstars summoned the human to his lab. The chamber lights flickered with anxious curiosity. "You understand that plant is toxic beyond measure," he began carefully. "It's listed in 17 galactic safety protocols." The human leaned back on the counter, arms folded, relaxed as if talking about the weather. "Maybe to you. For us, it's just spicy." "Spicy?" Zikstars repeated, voice cracking through his translator. "You define lethal agony as flavor?" The human laughed softly. "Pain's part of the fun. Makes life exciting, you know." He stared, speechless. Pain. As fun. On every world he'd studied, creatures avoided harm, yet humans, they sought it, turned it into culture. Even pleasure. Zikstars leaned closer. You enjoy discomfort? Sometimes, she said. It reminds us we're alive. Her words lingered long after she left the lab. Zikstars looked over centuries of xenobiology. No creature had ever evolved like this. No species made war with nature, chaos, and themselves, and thrived. He turned off the lights and whispered into his recorder. Perhaps the human secret is not resistance, but acceptance. They do not fear pain, they befriend it. And for the first time in his long career, Professor Zikstars felt afraid. The station lights dimmed to twilight as Professor Zikstars recorded his final log. The galaxy was in uproar. Politicians warning, soldiers trembling, scientists arguing. But beneath all the noise, one truth echoed through his mind. Humans, he whispered into the recorder, are not conquerors by nature, but by necessity. He stared at the data, hundreds of samples, every test screaming the same message. They endure, not by design, not by immunity, but by sheer will. Their biology told a story of extinction events, starvation, fire, war, and yet every scar had become a weapon of survival. He looked again at the human expedition through the glass. They were laughing, sharing food, singing badly out of tune. One of them waved at him, smiling as if no universe could ever frighten her. Zikstars smiled weakly. Perhaps, he said softly, the galaxy fears them because they are what evolution was always trying to become. He ended the log with a single line. To them, poison is seasoning, pain is progress, and fear is just another flavor. The recording stopped. Outside, Earth's blue light shimmered in the void, bright and alive, and Professor Zikstars finally understood. Humanity doesn't survive the impossible, they redefine it.